Approximately 13 hours and 3 months of your life will be spent at work. This accounts for 90,000 hours and roughly two thirds of your life. So if you're watching this and you're lost and you're wondering, what the hell should I be doing with my career? Or how do I get out of this? How do I fix this situation? Pay close attention, because I'm going to help you, guide you. I'm going to give you the advice that I wish somebody pulled me aside and said, Vernon, psh, what are you doing? Do this instead. So, first things first, I understand where you're at. I want you to know that I have a lot of empathy for your situation. I've spent the better part of my life working many, many jobs, having many career paths, trying to figure out what the hell it is that I want to do. I knew from a very early age that I wanted to be somebody who had multiple careers. I wanted to be somebody who pursued multiple things, and that just wasn't what you did in my household. Black moms don't play that. I was the second person in my family to even go to college, so I'm sure you can imagine the pressure that put on me. The need to feel like I was not going down the same paths that other family members had gone down. The pressure to have to conform to what I felt like my parents wanted me to do, right? Go to school, get an good education, the same song that we hear. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with education, but I do believe it's more important to find a vocation. Now, if you don't know what that is and you've never heard of it before, a vocation is something that feels like a calling. It feels like it's something that's true to you, a purpose, something where you get up every morning and you say, hell yeah, baby, let's get to it. The exact opposite of what people do on Sunday night when they know on Monday morning they have to wake up and go into work to something they hate. So if that's you, if you're interested in breaking through, welcome, my friends. Let's get into this. So the first thing that I think most people already know, but it's really hard to break out of this, is to stop doing what other people think you should be doing. Or stop doing what you think other people expect you to do. Said another way, there was this blog post that I read several years ago, and it actually became a book. And it was by this woman her name is Bronnie Ware. She's an Australian nurse. She was a hospice nurse to the dying. And what Bronnie Ware did was she compiled all of her notes, all of the questions she had asked over the years to her dying patients. And the number one thing that people said that they regretted was that they regretted this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you listening? They regretted living a life that wasn't true to themselves and a life that others had expected of them. Now, I don't want that for you. I do not want that for my worst enemy. It is a hard thing to hit midlife and realize that you're not living the life that you've always wanted to be and the thing that you've always wanted to do. So that's the first thing. Now, in practice, I know you may say, look, and I've had similar sentiments, I got to pay bills, man. This rent is due, baby. This rent don't care about my passion. So what do? Well, you got to get you got to get clear about what it is that you actually want to do, which that'll go into number two. But you got to start planning for this, right? You can't let another year, month, week, even minute go by without starting to put together your game plan, right? Your strategy, what it is that you want to do. And Number two is most people don't know what they actually really want. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not here to beat you up, but you got to spend some time doing some things to realize what you don't want to do. The best way to do this is to start a project, build skills. Not only is this fulfilling from a standpoint of, you have a body of work. You can, like some of these books behind me, I've written 2 books. You have something physically that you can say, man, like throughout my life, I can point back to these things and say, wow, like I accomplished this cool feat. Now, I'm not telling you got to write a book, right? But what I'm telling you is that if you build skills and you do projects, these will ultimately open you up and lead you to a place where you start to find what you're curious about. Start to find out what you care about. Maybe you went to school for mechanical engineering, but this whole time you wanted to start a business, right? And so if you never venture out and maybe start a side hustle, or you launch a business, right? You take that leap, you're never really going to be able to know if that's something that you truly desire. Maybe you hate it. Maybe you think that's what you want to do and you do it and you're like, this is crazy. I'm not willing to put up with this stress. I don't want to have to worry about, having to pay employees and payroll and wondering where things are going to come. Like, maybe you don't want that stress, right? But if you never try, if you never go down that path, then you never know. Which brings me to number 3. And number 3 is you can't be afraid. In the absence of fear, you can always find courage. You can always find something within yourself that can get you and move you to action. If you don't have that, if you feel like, hey man, like Vernon, look, I don't have confidence in myself. I've never had courage. I would challenge that and say, look throughout your life, even go back to your adolescence when you're a child. What story, what experience can you recall, can you tap into, or even make one up? Shit, we make up stories all day. We make up stories about why people don't call us back. We make up stories about why people looked at us funny on the subway, right? Why don't you just make up a story that says you're capable? Why don't you just make up a story that says it's possible for you? Because you're making up a story anyway. Why not just choose one that benefits you versus telling yourself one that's crappy, right? So I'm a strong believer in courage, and I'm a strong believer in leaning into your fear. Fear doesn't go away. It's always there. The most successful people in the world will tell you they have fear. If they don't, they're lying. In some capacity, they have fear, right? Maybe it's fear that something will happen to their child. Maybe it's fear that, they'll say the wrong thing and then their career will be completely tarnished. Everybody has fear. The difference between the people who make things happen and the people who don't is the people who have that fear, they accept it and they still move forward. They have courage to move, courage to do, courage to lean in. And I believe that everybody has a version of that in them, right? And if you don't have it in you, if you're saying, look, Vernon, I just can't. I don't have it. I don't have a story. I've always been timid. I've always been afraid. I've never wanted to fail at anything. I've never failed at anything because I've never tried. Here you go. Rent it from somebody else. That's right. You don't even got to pay them. Just rent it from somebody else. Go read autobiography, a biography. Go find somebody that you admire and create an alter ego or be that person, right? For me, one of my favorite authors is Seth Godin, right? And so I put on my Seth Godin glasses and I'm like, all right, I'm Seth Godin now, baby. Let's go. What would Seth do? You can create that for yourself. Number 4, stop chasing money. This is super hard. I get it. Like, we live in a culture that is predicated on everything being about money. And like, look, I've been there. I've been broke. I've had days where I had no money. I had to borrow money from friends. It sucks. It sucks. It's a crappy place to be in when you're having to figure out where your next, deal is gonna come from, when your next sale is gonna come from, to pay your rent, to pay your bills, to pay your team, right? To come up with your half of the rent, right? That is a crappy feeling. But if you build your life around money, I can tell you from experience, on both ends, like you're just not gonna be a happy person, right? Because you're gonna get to a place where you're trying to fill this void, and you'll never be able to fill that void ever. The only way to fill that void is to truly find a vocation, something that feels like a calling, something that feels like it's for you, right? It's something that only you can do. You were put on this earth to create. And I know that may sound cheesy, right? But it doesn't have to be this. No one's asking you to be Mother Teresa or Martin Luther King. I'm just asking you to be the best version of who you are. Because I believe that the more that we do that, the more that we show up in the world who we are, the better the world is, right? We have a lot of dissonance because people aren't in their zone of genius. People aren't in flow states. So that's important. Don't chase money. If you need money, which we all do, you have to figure out a way to structure your life in a way where money is secondary to you going after the thing that you want to do, your vocation, right? So that could be like, hey, look, I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to have a job and do the thing that I'm passionate about and I love, and that's totally okay. Not everybody's made to be an entrepreneur or start a business, right? Maybe it's like, hey, I'm going to have my job, my 9 to 5, and from 5 to 9, I'm going to work on art, like my friend Paul Columbus, right? He has a great job. He is a server at an entertainment company, one of the major theme parks, and he makes a full-time living doing that, taking care of his family, his 2 kids, and his wife, and he does his art on the weekends, in his free time. And I think that's beautiful because you don't hear a lot of people saying that. A lot of people say, oh, you got to start a business. Oh, you got to do. I think businesses are great, especially if you can build something online that's sustainable, but that's not going to be everybody's path, and that's okay. So number 5 is debt. You got to get out of debt. Now, I get it, right? Student loans, I have them. What can I say? What can I say? I have them. You probably have them. You probably know people who have them. This is part of the bill of goods that we were sold, right? You got to get an education. You got to go to school. Again, education, nothing wrong with it. But I don't think that accumulating a crap ton of debt in order to get a degree is the best thing for my generation and the younger generations, because what inevitably happens is that you go into life, you graduate school, and you're immediately weighed down by that debt. You're immediately like, I got to go get a job because I got to pay this debt for this degree that I didn't even use. In my case, that was my story, which is okay. I still got value from it. And then you start to make decisions based on what? Based on your debt. Based on how much money will this job pay me? Versus, what do I really want to do with my life? What is really interesting to me? What am I curious about? what do I want to bring into the world that's uniquely my own that nobody else can do? So that is something that you can't avoid it, right? In most cases, most of us are going to have debt if we've been to college, if we've been in a hardship, medical bills, situations like that. But you have to get it under control. You have to have a plan, right? There's plenty of things out there, tools, resources that you can lean into, and you have to be you can't hide from it, right? Many moons ago, the bills would come in the mail. I wouldn't even open them. I'd be like, hey, it's just gonna sit there. I can't pay them. I got to pay my rent. I can't pay my rent and them, and that stuff just never goes away. So you have to attack it head on, get support. There's money coaches. I hired a money coach. I didn't know that was a thing. A debt coach, money coach. Put together a budget. Yeah, like I didn't have a budget until I was probably like 25, 26. Yeah, I know. These aren't things that anybody taught me, but I had to go out and learn them. And you can learn them too, right? So to recap, if you're on this path, if you're feeling lost, if you're wondering, how the hell do I figure out this career thing, right? What am I put here on this earth to do? In a way that feels good to me, first and foremost, allows me to make a great living and allows me to exercise my gift that's uniquely my own. I think this is a great start for you. It's not the finish line, it's the starting line, but I think it's a great start and it's worthy of it if you're willing to go the path. So number one, stop doing what other people expect you to do. Your life isn't supposed to be built around your parents, your spouse, your kids. Yes, you should be in service to those people. But at the end of the day, remember, 13 years, 2 months, 90,000 hours. That's 2/3 of your waking life will be spent working. That's a long time. So you better damn well make sure you're doing something that you care about. Number two, go out and build skills and launch projects. Work on projects. Collaborate with people, right? Go and learn coding. Hey, you don't even have to code. Nowadays, you can just use AI. Vibe coding. I don't even know what that is. I guess people are coding off vibes now. That's pretty cool, right? You can learn that skill. Go to YouTube University. You're already on YouTube. Why not leverage it for the next skill you want to build? Number three, lean into the fear. The absence of fear is courage. You have it. There's a story that you can make up if you don't have one, or you can rent it from somebody else, like a mentor, somebody you look up to. Number four, stop chasing money. Stop chasing the dollar. It won't make you happy. I can tell you, money is great. It's a tool. I love it, right, for what it can do. But I don't make decisions purely based on money, because I have done that and I have been unhappy, and I don't want that for you. And finally, debt. You got to get it under control. You got to get a plan. If you don't have a plan, get one. If you need help, reach out to somebody. Comment in the comments, say, I need help with my debt. Whoever sees or knows anybody, tag them if you've gotten help from somebody. I can tag somebody who could potentially help you. Like, I don't need anything, but this is how we help each other evolve and grow and get to the best version of ourselves. So thank you for coming out. If this was valuable, if this podcast episode was valuable for you, I want you to do one thing and one thing only. I want you to take this link and text it to a friend and say, hey, I thought about you today. I wanted to do something beautiful for you. I wanted to share some wisdom to help you make a shift in your career, right? do that for me. I'm super grateful that you're able to be here. I know you could have been anywhere else, but you took the time to be here, and that matters to me. And I'll see you guys. Check out this video next. Like this, one of these videos you should be checking out now. You got to check it out next.